All right, in this video, we're going to look at organizational structures within Schoology. So I've already logged in. I'm in one of my sandboxes, so just a place that I can play around. And so in Schoology, the main format for organization is going to be through the use of folders. So you can see just in my sandbox course, which is just really kind of blank, just a place that I've just put a few things in so we can take a look. You can see that I've titled my folders here by unit, so unit 1, 2, and 3, and I've also utilized some color coding. So this one down here is unpublished, so it's a little bit grayed out. But you can see that this first unit 1 is red, this first unit 2 is orange, but I could see someone maybe using Schoology to do anything science related is going to be red, anything math related is going to be orange, or something like using those colors to give those visual prompts for students on just so that they can be a little more attuned to what it is they're looking at. So you could do it by unit. Like I just mentioned just a moment ago, you could do folders based on topics or content areas. So really folders is how you're giving your Schoology course structure and organization. So let me just pop over into another class where I'm a student and we can look at this a little bit more. So one of our colleagues here at the AESD, I am a student in his course, and you can see that he's done a really nice job of color coding a course, and he actually organized by module, and those modules were based around a timeline. So in his title, he even gave it a little bit more structure. So maybe if you're teaching a course for a first semester, maybe you have a folder for each week instead of by unit or topic. So just another kind of way to think about organizational structure. And then within each folder, he utilized a lot of discussions. So you can see that he's done a really nice job of really labeling what each assignment and discussion is. There's also pages. So again, just being really descriptive in the title to let students know what it is they're looking at and help them navigate through the resources within Schoology. So if I go back, so folders are the main organizational structure, but another way that some people have used Schoology to keep students organized is through the use of the updates area. So if you want to, let's just revisit this really quick. If we want students, the default landing page is materials, but you can have students default to update. So if I go to course options and then edit privacy and course settings, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a little option that says default landing page. So every course defaults to materials, but you can change it to updates. So students will always land on that update page, and then from there you could direct them where you want to go. So I'm just going to make sure that's saved. So now if I go back into my Schoology sandbox, instead of landing in materials, I landed in updates. So now from here, if your students are always landing in that update area, whatever you post updates, whether it's daily, weekly, maybe it's multiple times a day, they will always land here, and your updates, the newest update will always be at the top. So this is a way that a lot of teachers kind of keep their kids focused on what it is that they should be working on in the moment. So, and just an example I wanted to show you, the nice thing with Schoology is each page or discussion or assignment generates its own web address. So on here we can see that I've asked students to engage in a discussion, and I've actually linked the discussion directly here. So I wanted to show you really quickly how to do that, thinking about how can I use the structure in Schoology to guide my students where I want them to go. So if I go back into materials, let's say we're working on unit 2, and here's another discussion. When I click, every time I'm clicking on something new, it's changing the web address up at the top here. So right now you can see it ends in materials because I'm on the materials page. But if I click on this discussion 1, it's now that web address has changed. So it's in materials, but it's going into discussion and then view, and then this is a unique code for this discussion. So if I take this web address and I'm gonna right click and copy, then I'm gonna go back to updates. And if I post a new update, So let's say I'm just going to ask them to please respond to the discussion for today's lesson. I'm going to link. So I'm going to paste. So I'm going to right click and paste that link that I just copied. And then let's say that this is Unit 2 discussion. Again, if you were using better descriptors than I would, you could title it exactly the same as you see on that materials page so that students, okay, yep, this makes sense. This is the same title I saw on the first page. So now I attach. So now that discussion link is right with the directions that I gave them for the update. So if I post this, just like we saw that first one, now when students first log in, it's now at the top of this course because they're defaulting to that updates page. And now as a student, I could see, okay, Ms. Colburn wants me to respond to the discussion for today's lesson. And if I click on this link, it's going to open me up right into that discussion post for Unit 2. So a really nice way to keep your students organized. So those are just two real quick kind of tips and tricks, but we'd love to hear from you and see maybe you found something else that's really creative and interesting for keeping your students organized, or how have you been using those folders or updates area as an organizational structure within Schoology?